Hello and welcome back to the EMJ PGA Podcast. This is episode 4. Thank you so much to all of you who have stuck with us for the first 3 episodes and keep on listening, keep on interacting with the podcast. It's massively appreciated. As I always say, I can show Ben the listeners and the interactions that we get, and it's been fantastic so far. So thank you very, very much for that. This week, we're going to do something a little bit differently. We're going to do it differently going forward. So you're going to get 2 podcasts per week going forward now. Okay. And we are going to do the first podcast of the week, the closest to the conclusion of the weekend's golf. Really just wrapping up what's happened in the world of elite level golf, tour level golf. What's the latest news? What happened in the tournaments the weekend before? And then the second episode, which should be coming out on Thursday every week, is a little bit more us playing around, playing fun little games, little draft games like we did last week, which I think you guys all enjoyed, which was great to see. And we're going to be doing that again this week. So that's going to be coming up on Thursday, should I say. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And the whole purpose of this is for you guys, really. You know, we appreciate that an hour and a half long podcast is a bit difficult to get through every week. So we want to make it into a little bit more littler or bite-sized chunks for you. Okay, Ben Hartshorn, welcome back to the podcast, episode 4. How are we feeling this week?
Very good, very good. Very happy to be back. Thank you for having me on. Once again, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good, mate. Thanks. Yeah, I haven't seen you this week. So yeah, my weekend was good. If I didn't mention this just on the call beforehand, but hopefully I don't sound too bad. I was being violently sick watching the American football last night, which is a bit of a
Oh,
weird one. And I've shook that off literally in the last like 3 hours. So I'm
oh,
feeling okay. The first thing this morning, I was thinking, oh no, this is not going to be this is not good. But no, we've managed to shake that off. Other than that, it's been a good weekend. What about you?
I say, oh dear. Was that due to watching the football, or was it the American
I
football?
don't think I don't think so. No, no, no. It doesn't make me as violently sick as it probably does for you.
No.
But no, I have no idea. I have no idea if it was something I ate or a bug or something. But
Hmm.
like the true alpha that I am, obviously I've shook it off and shrugged it off within a matter of hours. So that's what I do. That's how I operate. What did you get up to this weekend? Obviously, I think you've been racing a bit this week.
I did. I
How's that gone?
I did two races back to back, double header this weekend. So yeah, which was good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah.
Not much alcohol consumed. Just running. So yeah, it
No.
was one of them. So.
Nice, nice. I like that. Do you miss the soccer? Do you miss my brand spanking new United team? Just give you guys a tap in at the weekend.
I could literally, we got back when after the first race and watched it, and it was a show. I literally got back as Romero got sent off. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not engaged with football very much, but I was disappointed, and we were going to get clapped anyway. We've got like 16 injuries. It's hard to it's hard to judge and hard to really get that upset like I used to. But yeah.
But it is hard to disassociate. Obviously, we were in the same boat last year,
Mm,
weren't we? And you guys finished the year well. But it is very
mm.
easy to disassociate when your team is struggling, so to speak, and then the injuries on top don't make it any easier. And then one of your best players getting sent off, which is never ideal. So no, hopefully you can bounce back and string a few wins together. Because genuinely, I was listening to the game and they were like, they need to be careful they don't get drawn into a relegation scrap. I was like, Jesus Christ! I mean, what is going on over there at Spurs? What would you do to fix it? Two things to fix it, not three. 2 things to fix it at Spurs. What are you gonna do?
Two things to fix it. Two things to fix it is keep the manager and wait to keep the manager and then sack him in the summer. And knows, knows there's not much you
Yeah,
can do. I don't
it's
actually
it's
know.
hard. It's hard to do it in two.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do it in two put on the spot with 2 things to fix Spurs. Keep the manager, I don't mind as an idea, and then hopefully don't sack him.
No,
Because yeah, he doesn't seem like a bad manager.
no, he's not a bad manager. Just the players are He's got too many injuries. It's similar. It's the same issue the last couple of seasons with the different managers we've had. But I do still feel sorry
Yeah,
for the manager. To be honest with you, he's out of his depth a little bit currently.
Yeah, it does look a little bit of a tall
So
task, a little bit of a tall task. It wasn't a tall task for Chris Gotterup this weekend in Phoenix. Before we come on to him, you were so close to a moment in glory,
mm,
so close. Can I tell you how close you were? Okay, I was watching the golf last night. This was as I was feeling okay. Literally, as soon as the golf finished, I started feeling absolutely awful, which was weird last night. But
mm.
obviously, with the golf, it led perfectly into the American football. So it was a quality Sunday night until it wasn't for me. But this is how close you were to your moment in glory. He was teeing the ball up on 18 and they went to adverts. And I started making a little video clipping up your
Oh,
prediction from last week to put on there when he won. And then I came back to it and unbelievable scenes. I mean, two snap hooks on in regulation and then on the playoff hole. One like no, yeah, the one he got lucky with. Did he? Did he get lucky with it? Yeah, the
the
one
fir-
he absolutely flew it over into the bunker, in the bunker the first time, and then the second one, which we'll obviously come on to, but like hit the rope, hit the like stand for the rope, the metal stand, and back in the water. You looking at his third shot in the playoff. I mean, he was slightly unfortunate. I know the shot was absolutely awful, but how unlucky is that to hit the pole square on and it come back in the water, and like he wasn't able to obviously hit that heroic shot that he hit in the playoffs. You were so close to the right pick this week.
yeah, it was absolutely gutted, and like it wasn't. You're fine with my picks. They're not the most thought out picks in the world. So to get one nearly right, and he dominated the week. He was so good on Friday, played well Saturday, and he did some really crazy good things on Sunday. He was driving the ball all over the place, but he hit two or three unbelievable shots from a rough out position, and I think he hold three putts over 20 feet in the first seven holes. So he did some special things, and then just the drive down the last both times in the playoff as well just cost him. Very unlucky hitting the pole in the second one, but you can't be going that far left twice. That really is that must be gut wrenching for poor Hideki today. So gutting to miss out, but happy that pick actually came off a little bit. So yeah.
I thought the pick looked really, really good, and as you said, he was in cruise control for what Friday, Saturday, and
Mm.
most of Sunday. Obviously, like I don't know how much of the golf you managed to keep up with it in the moment, so to speak, but the scorecard looks a lot cleaner than the round actually was on Sunday. He was all over the place off the tee all day. I'm 90% sure that I think he had 11 putts on the front nine yesterday, which highlights one thing that the long game was all over the gaff,
Mm.
and he was scrambling like crazy to keep the card clean until the last moment. Unbelievably unfortunate. Obviously, we haven't even touched on the winner, or we've skimmed over the winner, Chris Gotterup in his last three starts, win, tied 18th, win. He has come out of the gates 2026 on a heater. Yeah, there's no other way. There's no other way to say it. Um, yeah, I mean, you just look at little pockets of great golf from Chris Gotterup. We won the Scottish Open last year when he came over to the British Isles when I was there. I didn't actually watch him hit one shot because, truth be told, I didn't know who he was. I did not know who he was, so I wasn't following him round, looking at him on a heater, so to speak, in Scotland. But he wins there. He fends off McIlroy in a bit of a duel there, and then finishes third in the Open at Portrush. So an unbelievable little run last year. He's won twice previously on tour, so with the Sony Open victory a couple of weeks back, and now in Phoenix, he's now got up to four wins on tour, which is fantastic. Unbelievable performance from Chris Gotterup, final round 64, 7 under par. What do you make of his performance the weekend?
Chris Gotterup, I mean, fair play to him. I forgot he won the Scottish Open, and he burst onto the scene obviously in Scotland last year. But he's almost a mix of sort of Reed and I mean, we compared him to Brooks. He's not Brooks. His swing is tight. His swing is I don't know if it shallow. It's very sort of compact. Weird little swing is. I feel like he's very closed off to it as well. I just think he just very unique, but obviously unbelievably consistent. So fair play to him. And he got on. Obviously, we'll talk about this later. But he got on the heater on the back nine yesterday. And again, but obviously with your, I don't know, you probably will talk about him with your mate Michael Thorpe Bjornsson. They both got on the heater, but got through the last three holes a lot more efficiently. I mean, I made a load of birdies on that back nine. So fair play to him. I mean, I mean, he's the most boring guy ever. They keep producing boring players, but you can't deny his golf.
No, you can't do. You can't do. A little dive into his swing. Obviously, you made some good points. There's a lot going on with his golf swing. Okay, he
Mm.
really likes to stand with his lower body really open to the target. So this is where I
Mm.
got him wrong because I saw plenty of shots of him on the range, him out in Scotland. Plenty of slow-mo clips of him hitting these big, massive high cuts. That's why I picked him at Torrey Pines because I thought he was a fader with a golf ball. Faders notoriously do well around Torrey Pines, so I picked him for that. Was mega impressed with his ability to, as you said, closed off. So his lower body's very open to the target, but he holds his left shoulder really, really square slash closed or right of the target to
Mm.
help his path get a lot more into out and hit that drawing shot. I mean, he was stood up on the 17th and I was watching him and David Howell was on comms, and he said this has to be a big left to right, but there was trouble on the left, and no one hit the ball really left to right on 17 all day. It was set up for that draw off the bunker on the right, off the right side of the green, and literally his feet were aiming at the back of the 16th grandstand. Like it was absolutely incredible, and he hits this absolute piping hot draw. I thought Jesus, and then since then I've obviously watched a couple of his swings in preparation for today. There's a clip of him hitting a nice little draw into the 16th at Torrey last week. So I was really impressed with his shot shape and mobility. Is basically what I was going to try and say there. I thought he was a bit of a one-trick pony, but he definitely isn't. And that ability, he's really, really good at loading into his left side in the downswing. If you watch him from face on, you'll watch how quickly and how much weight he presses into that left hip, that left thigh in transition, and that basically gives him really, really good control of his trajectory, which is a massive reason why he's probably so good and so comfortable around the links courses. So yeah, fantastic,
Mm.
fantastically efficient swing, fantastically creative as well. It's not a one-trick pony golf swing. And yeah, I just put now. Obviously, we made picks for Americans, boring Americans, to win at the Open. He is on my watch list, and,
Mm.
and the thing is, you put something on now to think that the price will be up, but of course it won't be because he's absolutely on a heater right now, and,
Mm.
and all the bookies are going to be going, no, 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 we're cutting your price down. So I don't know whether now's a good time to get him, or whether it's one where he's only going to be getting better from here going into major season, and he might be a contender. Do you expect to see him maybe in the hunt for a couple of majors this year?
I would think so. I'd imagine so. I don't know how you'll fare around your place like Augusta or Shinnecock. I mean, there's some monster courses they go into in major season. But yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he built for links courses as you've just explained, and I think yeah, Birkdale. I mean, Scottish Open again. He's that sort of player. I mean, and Patrick Reed never used to do well, does he? He never won an Open, has he? So maybe not. And I do think he's a exact sort of player like that. A very creative, smart player. So but yeah, I mean, surely he'll be fancying it heading to major season now.
Yeah, yeah. There are definitely some similarities to Patrick Reed, but it's mainly just how his body looks and the fact that he's a night player. Definitely
Yeah.
definitely gives you that look of a Patrick Reed. He's quite tidy around the greens as well, as is Patrick Reed, who we'll be coming on to later in the podcast as well, because he's also on a heater to start the year. So we've got two, at least former Nike players who are relatively just slightly carrying a bit of timber with them, but they're playing unbelievable golf. So fair play to both of them. But as we said, we touched on Matsuyama. I mean, one thing that we didn't mention last week, which caught me off guard, he's won this twice before in 2015
Mm.
and 2016. So going into that final round, I could have absolutely locked him in to win that golf tournament, even though he was all over the place off the tee. I could have absolutely I would have put a decent little bit on him to bring home the victory. But yeah, long game wasn't there, and we'll come on to the fans in just a moment. But you can't help but feel slightly bad for him. He gets thrown off a potential, and it's the same putt that Chris Gotterup holds in the playoff. It's the exact same one down the hill, pretty straight on that green. He gets thrown off by some fan yelling in his backswing, and then has to step off one on the 18th tee in the playoff. I mean, you've got to feel unfortunate. You've got to feel bad for him in a sense. We'll come back to some of the fan behaviour in just a moment because I do think it's an important point for the weekend, and I know I can see you smiling there, so I know we've got some stuff to talk about. But contenders, I mean, Scotty Scheffler. In obviously we've got Cheltenham coming up in just under a month or just over a month. It's pretty much going to be bang on a month now. It was genuinely like you have a handicap race, or just in golf as well, you obviously have the handicap system. Like Scheffler just did that little one where he's just decided to drop a 2 over on Thursday just to handicap himself against the field and then see if he can make it back, almost like a challenge to himself. What a performance again from Scheffler, finishing tied third. What do you make of his week?
Yeah, Sheffield is incredible, a fantastic competitor. He's almost dudes because I saw a comparison with him with McIlroy. McIlroy seems to love going terrible early, but the difference with McIlroy and Scheffler is every other week Scheffler will just start on fire and finish on fire and win, and then he might do the odd what McIlroy does every week and start really badly, and then he'll still do it anyway. I mean, he is incredible. I mean, I was watching his round today. I saw watch every shot from his round today, just see what sort of heater he was getting on, and it was Tiger-esque. Just the momentum he brings into a final round is just amazing, and he will. I'm sure. I mean, I haven't picked him for next week, but surely he will probably win next week. He will win the next 4 weeks, surely. So again, there's not much more we can say about Scotty Scheffler. So it's yeah.
It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. He just drops that 2 over par round, and I was so close to messaging you. Now's not a bad time to put a bet on Scheffler to win,
Mm.
because obviously in that moment his odds would have gone up relatively, and I genuinely thought about putting a pound on or something like that just to see if I could get something back, because you just knew he was going to come back, shanking it on the range on Thursday. Scheffler
Was
straight. Did you
he?
see him heel shank one on the range this week?
No.
Yeah, Hosel Rocket on the range this week, um,
Uh,
just doing all sorts of stuff out there, and puts a bogey free 7 under 64 on Sunday to really put himself in contention. You mentioned him just a minute ago, nearly for my guy Michael Thor Bjornsson. At one point, I thought this is Thor Bjornsson versus your pick. This is my one to watch versus your pick for the week, and he gets the eagle on 15, just
yeah.
an unbelievable eagle on 15. I thought, here we go. And then, as always, this is why winning is so hard. It doesn't matter what level, your local club, just the medal for that week if you know you're in with a chance coming down the stretch, your club championships, whatever sort of level of golf, it gets to that stage where you realise you're in contention. You might go, oh, I'm in the lead, and then you can literally see it. Even though he has a very calm demeanor, Thor Bjornsson, he's a role model on the golf course, fantastic. You can literally see it in his eyes where he gets into that. I mean, to be fair, the commentators made a great point. What a place to take your first lead on the PGA Tour, and you can walk into that stadium hole. It must have been pretty daunting, but you could just see it in his eyes. And what did he do? He absolutely hit a 9-iron, 190 yards on that 16th. I mean, I'm pretty sure the pin was 172. Okay, you had the roll off there as well. He pitched the 9-iron 175. I mean, it was absolutely adrenaline running through the veins, and then follows it up by hitting in the water on 17, nearly for Thor Bjornsson. I think I said it in my one to watch thing. He gets a win this year. I don't know where. It might be something. It might be a small event, like you say, in the middle of the summer, in the middle of major season, where we're going around, we're ticking boxes on the PGA Tour with a few of these events. He will pick up a win. I'm convinced of it this year. Just unlucky he wasn't quite there this week. Do you reckon? Do you agree with me on Thor Bjornsson?
Yeah, Theo Johnson, he looks good. When he looks good, he looks solid as well. He's built solidly, and he's been brewing for a while. I read a stat that he won like the greens of regular. He was the best of greens of regulation actually in the PGA Tour throughout the whole year. He's also a good iron player, and you're right. I mean that eagle on 15 was mega, and I mean hit his drive 366, and then had an 8 iron in. So that's mega to go and then bogey a 16, 17, and 17's obviously he's probably gone driver there, hasn't he? Try and hit the green, but that's gutting. I mean, that'll take a few weeks to get over that, and but yeah, you're right. I like to think he will win. And another up and
Yeah.
coming US player who's got all the talent in the world. So yeah, shame for him.
Yeah. And just to round off the at least the golf in Phoenix, we had Akshay Bhatia, Nikolai Højgaard, excuse me, who's playing really good golf to start the year. He ran it close in Dubai a couple of weeks ago, and he started really strong. And then Siwoo Kim, who is the absolute slam dunk top 20 pick right now. He's playing some fantastic golf. I'm going to mention him later on in some predictions. A bit of a spoiler for that, but he's playing the best golf of his career. And again, another one of my ones to watch, Jake Knapp, who was actually, obviously there was quite a few players bunched together, but he was unfortunate to finish eighth because he was sniffing in and around it, and he just couldn't quite get the putter going on Sunday. He might be another one as well. I don't know whether we're seeing a win this year for Jake Knapp, but he's a really, really solid player, and I think that his time will come to burst out and maybe get in the world's top 20 very soon. So that rounds up the golf in Phoenix. But we both know that Phoenix isn't only about the golf. Phoenix is an absolute unicorn of an event because we have a unholy amount of clowns in the gallery this week. I mean, it was just endless this week in terms of us sending each other stuff. Have you seen this? What the hell's going on? All thoughts that came to my mind during the week. And in these situations like this, I delegate to you, Ben Hartson, because I know that you specialise in these sorts of subjects as well as the golf, but you specialise in these. What did you make of the fans this week in Phoenix? We bigged them up, and they did deliver on some counts.
They did deliver. They did deliver. So I mean, the content we've been looking at all day. So I've been on a rampage of my feeds to try and generate my feeds to give me the fans from the Phoenix Open, and it didn't disappoint. If all the content I saw was from 2026, from this year, there was some great content. And it's almost like, I get it's Super Bowl weekend, they're all on they're also on, as we say, they're on roids, the Americans. It's almost like they drink one day a year or one weekend a year, and half of them don't even make it past Thursday, because most of the content you see is a Thursday thing at sort of 10 p.m, 10 a.m. in the morning, where they're all asleep, or they're all on sort of doing all sorts of random. Obviously, we saw you sent me a bit of content from that YouTuber. What's his name? Thingy Doherty, Jack Doherty. No, is that his name?
Yes, yeah, the streamer.
Yeah, the little Irish streamer. I mean, he's annoying little. That was cringe, and actually, that was the only bit of content I saw where I thought, no, that, let's not do that, because the content, some of the one guy from, I think it was last year, sort of stripping and sort of running all the way around the 16th and then all the way up to the 17th green and then jumping in the lake was actually quite funny. And then some of the comments there, and one of the underrated ones I sent you today was the one of sort of, the caption was, "What Unc doing?" And like, it's just like a 6-year-old bloke sort of filming one of the girls but stand by the greens. And it was just so funny, because then it cuts to him going, "Oh my God, is that bad?" And it's just so funny, that is. And that's not even some of the worst bits, because obviously some of the content is, some of the things they're doing out there is cringe and it's forced. One of the good things is like when they do the race, which actually, like, I've changed my stance on it. Like, going to the WM Phoenix Open would be hilarious, and being a part of that race to the 16th. Even though, as I always say, there's no golf going to happen there for another few hours, but they've got to get there. They've got to get there first to stand there and get drunk on their Bud Lights. But yeah, those guys are wetters. Those guys don't know how to drink. Those guys get too excited. But I saw a thing saying it was like 80 degrees, probably is that Fahrenheit. So yeah, not as hot as Celsius, but it's still hot. So I'm not surprised they get too drunk. But I don't know what your favorite bit of content was. But yeah, actually overall, I quite enjoyed the fans, and it does make it a little bit different for golf. I know the PGA Tour. I mean, the PGA Tour, they obviously like it for 1 week a year to do that sort of event, because it's a very live golf sort of thing. But no, my stance has changed, and I'd actually like to go and see what it's actually like. But yeah, it was interesting, to say the least. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I do agree. Like, I was 50-50 this week in terms of like finding it funny. There was a couple of bits that I found funny. So I have whittled down my my favorite things from this week, my three favorite things from this week. But yeah, there's like 50-50 where I did find it funny, and we were doing so well until the antics on 18 with Matsuyama. And then consequently, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but the guy who shouts in Matsuyama's backswing for the winning putt is then going round to the crowds, so like, who are obviously giving him a bit of stick, saying he's going to spit on them and he'll slap their and all stuff like that. And I'm just going, I mean, This is ridiculous. We had the staff member dropping the chair in the middle of the backswing in the playoff. It's like, don't worry, pal. Like, it's only the playoff for the tournament, and you're walking around the back of the tee with the heaviest chair known to man. Why are you walking? What when everyone goes silent, if you've ever been to a golf tournament, you know that someone's hitting a golf shot, especially them lot who are loud as every week. Like, and then like, oh my God, what are you doing carrying the chair? What are you doing dropping it? So those bits put a sour note on it. And that Jack Doherty, oh my God. I mean, as you said, it's cringe. I mean, him doubling down on it. I don't know if you've seen the video of him since, but he doubled down on it, saying that the world's full of snowflakes and that, it's only a golf tournament and stuff like that. And do you know what? I take that view, but it's just not appropriate. It's just, you can do that anywhere, any time of the day. You can do it in his pre-shot routine if you really fancied it. But on a backswing, for those of you who don't know, he paid someone $100 to yell Jack in the middle of a player's backswing. That was what he got banned for life for, so to speak. So you look at it and go, it's slightly funny, but then his reaction to it was just ridiculous. So yeah, he annoyed me. But on to the slightly humorous content for the week. As I said, I've whittled down my top 3 moments. A couple of these I don't imagine you will have seen. One of them I definitely know you have. Coming in at number 3 this weekend for fan moments was Dan Brown handing out cigarettes to the fans. Dan Brown, one of the loosest cannons that we've got in English golf, to be fair. I mean, he is hilarious. If you don't follow his account, I think it's bfb.bogies, I think his Instagram handle is, or at least his mate's Instagram handle is, that they go around and do loads of stuff. He is hilarious, Dan Brown. He was handing out cigarettes this week. I actually didn't know that he smoked. I followed him for a few holes at the Scottish this week. I didn't know that he smoked. So I saw in the practice round that he did, and then next thing I know, he was handing them out. Go on.
Do you not remember when he was obviously fighting for the Open at Troon? I just remember watching him smoke then and thinking, we're at Sunday at the Open and he's like second and he's smoking and he dropped a disaster class that day. So that's the only thing I remember about DB. But he's a great guy and he's living the life out there in America. Oh my God.
Yeah, he is. I don't know if you got the thing that I sent you, but he was doing a missed cut party this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious, and we need characters like characters like that, like Dan Brown. So that made me laugh. Number 2 was a bit of a niche one. I definitely think I would have sent it you, but I know this was from this week. Always seems to be in the same place because I've seen this before. But there's a big path, and obviously it's in the middle of Phoenix, in the middle of Arizona, Scottsdale. So all burnt out grass, very desert like. So it's off the path is just burnt out brown dust pretty much. But and obviously it looks pretty slippy as well. And going down there's a massive hill down to a stream that runs through the complex. And I saw a guy this week walking, his feet were going one way and his head was going another way, like absolutely hammered. And then next thing you can see him leaning over the side of the path, and next thing you know, like the dust sort of grabs him and he ends up legging it all the way down to the stream and getting down to right by the stream and then slipping over and then just laying on his back for ages because he knows that he's been caught and like he's absolutely hammered. I thought that was a ridiculous moment. So that made me laugh. And then number 1, which made me laugh the most, which is such a small thing, but it's typical American stuff. On Sunday, you might have caught him on the highlights, okay? But obviously me watching the golf all day, I saw him quite a few times. On Sunday, the 16th, directly behind the tee box, okay? It was the one moment that really, really made me laugh. But directly behind the tee box, there was a guy in a massive inflatable chicken costume, like with the proper red like things that a chicken has on the top of it. And obviously the most pointless job in the world, the Phoenix Open, is the stewards there holding the quiet sign up like this, and there was a steward right next to the massive chicken, who was like literally twice the size of the steward. And so the steward's like this with his signs, and then the chicken, like obviously got ridiculously short arms for the costume, is like just got his like hands up, like mimicking the steward, like behind like one of the players' shots, and just like staring. And I absolutely wet myself laughing. And I thought that is one of the best things I've seen, to be fair. So that took my number 1 spot for fan moments this weekend. And if I can find him, and I will. In fact, I will make it my mission this week to see if I can get at least the social media of the guy who wore that chicken, or at least I'll find the chicken and put him over the top of the YouTube video that you're watching now. Um, well done, because that was fantastic. And that's the exact sort of stuff that we need to be seeing at the Phoenix Open.
Yeah.
Ridiculous stuff like that. And it just made me laugh. I'm pretty sure I noticed it when Scheffler went through there, or maybe just before, or at least he did the one mimicking the Stewart when Scheffler went through there. Because obviously Scheffler, absolutely on a heater, big moment in the tournament. And you've got the chicken just doing mimicking the Stewart, telling everyone to be quiet. And it just made me laugh. So, no, all good stuff. All good stuff. Just a final note on the Phoenix Open. One thing that cracked me up as well. Again, Ben, you might not be familiar with this character, but I know a lot of you listening might be, because of how prominent he is on social media. But Joe Mayo, okay, had an all-time. I mean, he's already a fiery character. He's a short game coach, Joe Mayo, and he has a very direct way of getting his views across regarding angle of attack on sort of short chip shots and pitch shots, bunker play as well, hand placement throughout the impact in a bunker is one of his big things that he talks about as well. Some of the stuff that I actually really enjoy and agree with, you know. But anyway, there's a lot of coaches out there who don't agree with Joe Mayo's way of coaching, so to speak. He's coaching a lot of elite players, by the way, Joe Mayo. But anyway, he had an absolute head loss this week because Morikawa hit a shot fat on Thursday. On Friday, he hit a chip shot fat. Again, you might not have seen this, you might have seen this, but he absolutely dunched a pitch shot or a chip shot, Morikawa. And everyone was calling him out, saying, "Oh my God, like look at that technique, like that's absolutely ridiculous." And it was very Joe Mayo-esque, club outside the hands, very steep into the back of the ball, and he just chunks it like literally less than a yard in front of him. So Joe Mayo, as a result, took things really well. And I don't have the exact coach, but he was offering another coach out for a fight after it, and he was also offering $25,000 in cash to fans who could prove that he said something when he obviously didn't think that he had. And I just thought, one hand, what the hell's going on? I mean, he's perfect Phoenix Open sort of character, sort of absolute head loss out there. But on the other hand, I thought how triggered and how rage baited must he have been in that moment. And that's going to be up there in my top 3 rage baits of the year. If you're ever entertained or you like being entertained on social media, then follow Joe Mayo on Instagram, because he is really funny. What he'll do is he'll get like the Instagram story, type stuff in like really bold writing, like a sentence, like slagging someone off, and then just post it to his main feed. So it's not even he doesn't know how the story works, but like he just posts it to his main feed and gets everyone like riled up in the comments. So I just thought that made me laugh early on in the week. Joe Mayo, just relax, mate. Just relax. It's not that deep at all. Okay, then we've spent a good bit of time on Phoenix there now. Just a quick touch on Qatar. Patrick Reed, Ben, picks up another win. He's another one. His last 3 win, second win, albeit on the DP World Tour. But Patrick Reed on a heater. What do you make of him?
Yeah, on a heater, he's doing things that certain players like Rory McIlroy wish he could do and be consistent, which is incredible. Yeah, fair play to me. He's making the DP World Tour like extremely boring, and it shows that the difference in caliber of player when someone who is a world class elite top level player goes and plays on that tour, and how dominant he is. Fair play to him. I mean, there really is some players on some heaters at the start of this season, and he is the man. He's going to be picking up so many world ranking points. He'll be putting himself in contention for the next Ryder Cup, and he'll be fancying those majors, and especially that Masters, where I know he finished second last year. So yeah, fair play to Patrick Reed.
Yeah, like America haven't won a Ryder Cup since Patrick Reed obviously left for Liv. He's an absolutely massive part of that Ryder Cup side. That's why I put him in my draft last week, because I think he's one of those players where if you've got him in your side, I reckon, especially in a team format, I'm so much more confident than if I haven't. But yeah, putting things together, obviously elite level player Patrick Reed. Interestingly, and again, I'll hold my hands up, Patrick, if this is true. But he said that it's always been a dream of his to be an American to win the race to Dubai, and I thought that can't be true. That can't be true. That's got to be the agent getting in his ear there, because that is quite a claim, to say the least. But the good news for him is right now I can't really see too many people beating him unless McIlroy comes in the back at the end of the year and gets on a heater. Just a quick little note to finish on Qatar. Callum Hill, who I did disrespect a bit last week because I said he looked like, obviously, Callum Hill. If we're not familiar with Callum Hill, he's the one who went snap hook OB and then heel shank on the second playoff hole. I believe that was in Bahrain last weekend. And I said he looked like someone who hasn't won on the tour before. I was wrong. I'll hold my hands up. He's actually won twice on the DP World Tour before. He's got a cool little story as well. He's 31. He's not even like an upcoming player. He spent his collegiate days in America. He's actually in a Div 2 college, and earned his way up, but then decided not to turn professional and become an assistant coach for, I think, his university that he went to, and then just decided randomly a few years ago, right, I'm going to turn pro, qualified for the US Open. Next thing you know, his pro career was off and running. He almost won again. He was the leader after 3 rounds and he finished second. But I thought fair play to him, because after you drop that performance in a playoff the week before to come out and almost win again, I thought if nothing else, it's going to help the bank account because he's had 2 really good weeks there, Callum Hill. So I thought that was good. And then
Hmm.
Live Golf Riyadh. How are you feeling about Live Golf this year? What the state of Live Golf? Obviously, we'll do a quick recap of the tournament, but do you catch up with much at Live?
Live golf, live golf. Yeah, well, the 30 seconds I watched at live, I tried to watch highlights today. I didn't realize it's like they did it at night. They did the final round at night in Riyadh. We actually looked quite cool, to be fair. And some of the big players were involved, like Rahm. DeChambeau was there. I don't actually know who won, so you can tell me who won. I know David Puig was up there, who's had a good start to the season because he played well in not Qatar, in Dubai last week or the week before. But yeah, Live Golf couldn't care less. It's on TNT Sport though, which is interesting, which is obviously going to get towards UK viewers, which it wasn't last year. So yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair summary. I mean, no one really knows. No one really knows what's going on over at Live. I mean, we all were interested in really. Is Ron playing well and is DeChambeau playing well? I mean, that's all we really need to establish when we look at Live every week. Your winner last week or last weekend in Riyadh was Elvis Smiley, the Australian
That's
who
right.
carded an eight under par final round to take home the win by one. John Rahm's final round 9 under par will be in contention for my Heater of the Week award, which I'll give out in just a
Ooh,
moment. But yeah,
wow.
live golf. But yeah, live golf is one of those where it's struggling. It's struggling, and it's clear. It's clear for all to see. Obviously, we had the world ranking, the OWGR decision this week, awarding live golf players for finishing in the top 10, getting world ranking points, but they're limited. Um,
Mhm.
Really awarding points on a similar level to a sort of lesser PGA Tour slash Corn Ferry event, which I mean, I don't really have an opinion on. I mean, I can understand both sides of the argument. Do you have an opinion on the
Uh,
World Golf Ranking decision?
no, I haven't got an opinion. Sorry.
No, that's fair. That's fair. No, no, that's fair. Yeah, it's one of those where you can understand it because it's a condensed field. It's a 57-man field, and obviously the other tours are way bigger fields. Um, so yeah, no real thoughts on it. I reckon give it 2 years and we won't hear from Live Golf anymore. I don't think it'll be a thing because they've cut the prize pots down. They're playing 4 rounds now. I think they're playing Wednesday through Saturday, from what I understand now. I don't think the final rounds are on Sunday, from what I know. So it's a weird sort of thing that's going on over there at Live, and it'll be
I
interesting to see how much longer it goes on. And DeChambeau signing is the big one. If DeChambeau doesn't sign, they are screwed. They're absolutely cooked. So if DeChambeau signs, it gives them another 2 years off the back of his signing.
it does seem interesting. It does seem they've gone to 4 rounds. They're allowing players to leave. It does seem that they're obviously preparing for a deal with the PGA Tour, and if they could bring an element of what Live Golf has into PGA Tour, it might be quite cool. You know what? Watching them play at night was cool. Imagine that sort of thing on the PGA Tour. It would be good. So I think they're getting ready for a deal and for it to all explode. I would think maybe they'll get through this season. But you're right, DeChambeau's the key to all that.
Yeah, they do the hybrid events, and they do a couple of them where it's a PGA Tour field it on a different tour, if that makes sense. So the Scottish Open being the one example that I know, like that is technically a PGA Tour event, hence why Chris
Mm.
Gotterup was in there last year, and you get that. Why don't we just do a Middle Eastern swing on the PGA Tour and just get some prize pots going in there? Like, it just seems a logical solution to the whole problem to
Mm.
me. But we will wait and see. We will wait and see. We could spend hours talking about Live Golf and PGA Tour. So we're gonna move on to the final bit of the recap for the weekend's golf, which is, of course, our two main awards, Heater of the Week and Flop of the Week. Okay, I'm going to get because I feel like I've spoke a lot this podcast, so I'm going to get my Heater of the Week out nice and briskly. I've been boring again. I've done chalk again, for the only reason being that he did it in 2 rounds. Not just the one. Obviously, you could argue it's not the most impressive round of the week. Obviously, John Rahm's 9 under par on Live on Sunday, bogey free 9 under was one of those. But I just did the simple bit of maths as I looked at the winning score on Live, and then I looked at the winning score on the PGA Tour, and I thought maybe TPC Scottsdale was playing a little bit harder. So I've given Heater of the Week this week to Chris Gotterup. For a bit of joint a combination of 2 rounds. He's bogey free 63 on Thursday. God knows what happened Friday and Saturday for Chris Gotterup, because he pretty much shot his winning score in in the first and last round. But yeah, bogey free 63, 8 under par on Thursday, and then unbelievably coming from 4 shots back on Matsuyama to shoot 64 on Sunday. So heater of the week this week is Chris Gotterup. Of course, we've got the opposite end of the spectrum, flop of the week, okay, across the whole world of golf, mainly the main 3 tours. Ben also can throw in a curveball if he wants to as well. But Ben, I'll hand it over to you for flop of the week this week.
Flop of the week this week. So it doesn't always have to be golfers. It can be people surrounding the world of golf. It could be anything. I mean, if everyone plays well one week, I might have to go and pick like Tottenham or yeah, someone from the Winter Olympics or some. So but flop of the week. It's really difficult. I'm struggling this week. Obviously, my boy Dunlop is playing all right, or if he's not even playing, I don't know. But he's not down there. So what am I going to do? So honourable mentions. And I don't who I'm going to pick. I don't enjoy doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway because you've already mentioned my honourable mention, which was the staff member who dropped their chair in the playoff. An absolute disgraceful performance. And if he works for TPC Scott, so whoever he worked for, if he works for sort of a company, a catering company that was there, that's a disgrace. Because that was a big moment for Hideki Matsuyama after flying one left on the 18th in play. He then this person, as you've explained, dropped their chair and ruined it. What had that person been drinking? Had he been drinking on the job? Was it a woman? Was it a man? Any chance high vis? Was he in a high vis or not? But yeah, get him sacked immediately. We don't want to be seeing that here because again, you've got every drunk fan at Scottsdale that week, and it's then one of the staff members that ruins it, and then all the drunk fans we're like whoa, like literally embarrassing for that person and for TPC Scottsdale. But that's not even my flop of the week. Flop of the week is for like one of the highest scores in professional golf history that I've seen, and lucky Euan made me known to this person, and the person none of you would have ever heard of. His name is Ali Al Sharani. And I think I've said it really well. He shot 20 plus 26 the first 2 rounds in Qatar. And I thought, well, he's an amateur, maybe one of the only amateurs in Qatar. And it's almost like purgatory for this person. Is it assault as a human being, letting him go out there and play that badly? I don't think there's a lot of amateurs out there that wouldn't play that badly. But just for an 86 and 84, the highness of his scoring, he made 14 bogeys, 3 doubles, 2 triples. That's a lot of over par golf. Bear in mind the winners had to reach shot 16 under. I know there's a difference there. It is harsh on the lad. But then I thought, is this his first time as someone? Is he just allowed in because he's local? But then I look back, and he's played in the Commercial Bank Qatar Masters 5 times. He played in 2016, became 115th. 2018, 138th, dead last. 2020, dead last. 2021, he came 138th. He came 138th 3 years in a row, which I presume was obviously was I think was dead last, and then he came dead last again. He has shot under 80 3 times in those 5 years, but I don't get what he's doing out there. But he is my flop of the week. Just for again, the first time he played, he shot 75, 75. So he's getting worse each year he plays in this, which is a little bit worrying. But yeah, Ali Al Sharani is my flop of the week.
Ali, apologies, but even I always take the side of the player in this situation. 26 over, pal. I can't do it. I mean, it's clear that they're just running an open competition for Qataris to get in, and they reserve a spot
Mhm.
for a Qatari every year, and he keeps winning it, which makes me think I wish I was Qatari because that is the quickest path into a DP World Tour event I've ever seen. And for you as well. I mean, genuinely, I reckon if you play fantastically round there, we're at a 2 round total of 16, 17 over for
Mm,
even yourself, and to be
mm.
26 is absolutely ridiculous. So Ali, let's get back on the range, pal, and let's get back working. We'll look forward to seeing you next year at the Qatar Masters because we know you'll be in there. Apparently, we just know you will. Um,
Yeah.
all right then. Okay, that brings us to a conclusion of the review for the weekend's golf. Now we go to the preview. As we said last week, great run of events on the PGA Tour that we're now in the middle of, so to speak. I mean, it really started with the Farmers at Torrey Pines with the first proper sort of event. We're now two really solid events down, and we're going into a third. Pebble Beach, one of my absolute Tiger Woods PGA Tour '07, '09. Those were the best games for me. One of my absolute favourites. Um, Pebble Beach, AT&T Pro Am. Ben, how you feeling about this weekend?
Yeah, excited. I do get more excited for Phoenix and Scottsdale. I do get excited for Bay Hill. This one, yeah, it's cool. Pebble Beach is cool. Like we can't wait for Pebble Beach to be another US Open. But yeah, excited. Obviously, did Rose win last year? Rose win it last year, year
Rory
before?
McIlroy won last
I think
year.
yeah, so McIlroy then Rose the year before. So yeah, it's a cool event. Obviously, McIlroy got his season started last year, so it is a good event to win at a proper venue, to win on a proper golf course. So yeah, excited.
Yeah, yeah, no, it should be really good this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. You mentioned Rory just then. Do you reckon he can go back to back this weekend?
I mean, any chance Rory plays golf? I forgot he played and was a golfer. I thought he was just like some cringe celebrity. But yeah, no, I don't think McIlroy will win. But I mean, let's see. I hope he doesn't.
Let's let's see. Let's see for Ben's sake if he could go back to back. It'll be interesting. Spoiler: I haven't picked him either. I don't think he's playing unbelievable enough as of right now. So going into the prediction, I don't know if you've got something similar. You went first last week and you had a really really good successful week. So I'm actually going to pick first. I'm just going to talk about a couple of my players to watch. I'm not going to go on for ages about it, but they're pretty slam dunk names, one of which you've already mentioned. Okay, I've got two ones to watch this week that aren't my actual picks, and probably would actually, I wouldn't be surprised if both of them finish above my actual pick, which is just the way that I've gone this week. But players to watch this week, we've got Justin Rose. I know you said he won 2 years ago. I think it was three from my research today.
Oh,
But either way, in his last three starts here, he was tied third, tied 11th, and then won the third one 3 years ago. So he loves the golf course. He's obviously playing unbelievable. He's the third best player in the world, which I actually don't have any issues with right now. He's such a fantastic player, Justin Rose. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a great week. And then how many weeks in a row do I have to mention this guy? But he's going to get mentioned again. Siwoo Kim. I mean, if you like a top 20 finish, Siwoo Kim is your one. Will he win? He knows how to win big events. He's won the Players before. Um, he's a really, really solid little player. He's also playing fantastic golf at the moment. A bit random because it was obviously a long time ago, but he finished tied fourth in 2018, which obviously it feels like 2 seconds ago, but it's actually quite a while ago now. So that's not really relevant. But he was 12th here last year. And yeah, I just put a note saying he's played the best golf of his career, like I just said. But my prediction this week, Benjamin Hartshorn, is a bit of a random one. And it's a bit more hope rather than actual judgment. But I'm going to go with Victor Hovland this week. I thought he had a solid week in Phoenix. He was tied 10th. He finished 12th here a few years ago. He doesn't usually play here. I think he played here last year, which is worrying because he wasn't anywhere near the top of the leaderboard from what I saw. But since it's been made a signature event, before that he's had only a couple of starts around Pebble Beach, and he finished 12th in one of maybe 2 or 3 starts. So he doesn't mind the golf course. As I said, I think he had a solid week, and I think he'll win this year, Hovland. But obviously, I don't see it being a massively high profile event. Even though it's a solid event this week, I reckon Hovland could maybe sneak up on some people. Very Matsuyama-ish like based prediction from me this week, sort of similar to what you did last week. Ben, you got any thoughts this week?
Yeah. Hovland was on my radar massively. I think he's the sort of guy that could win this week. Europeans like winning this event. I'm sure Rose and McIlroy have won it. Random names, I mean, like Pearson Coody, whether that name is, he's playing well. He came top 10 again. You've mentioned Gotterup. Fitzpatrick went well early this week. He could be someone again. Fitzpatrick's due to win again at some point. So I nearly picked Fitzpatrick. Højgaard, as you said. But I'm going to go with someone different. So I watched more golf at the TGL this week than I've watched anything else. Like we sat there on Wednesday night, not me and you, and I watched the whole TGL, and it was Jupiter Links versus Atlanta. And Atlanta got absolutely lit up by T-Dubs' Jupiter Links. And T-Dubs was like coach manager, sort of like MD of that. And he did excellent with his team. And Ashkay Bataya was their best player. He was hitting some shots into that simulator that I've never, ever seen before. How he could hit to that close to a pin, which is on a screen, I've never seen. And he obviously came second, third this week. So I'm going to go randomly. Ashkay Bataya, he's talented as and I think he might just come have his moment, not come, but hopefully he'll come and win. So yeah, Ashkay Bataya, JK build, but way better than JK. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite jealous of that pick, to be fair. I think that's a good pick. I think we overlook Batia because of, I mean, without being harsh, he was wearing some trousers on Sunday, which I don't mind a short-legged trouser, but genuinely it was like a trouser short hybrid, and I'm pretty sure they were pink as well at the weekend from Batia, and I thought that is bold, and then I thought I can't be picking players like that. But at the same time, he's a really, really solid player. Turned down a big offer from Liv, which I was reading about this last week. He's a very Liv orientated player, in my opinion. You know, it's someone that Liv would probably be going after, and he turned them down. So I've got a lot of respect for Ashkay Battia. And yeah, I think he's a really, really solid pick this week. Okay, then. That is our review and preview show for this week. We're going to wrap it up there. Thank you very, very much for listening, watching, hopefully, if you're on YouTube. I'm going to ask, I don't usually do this, so I've done it at the end of the podcast instead of at the start, okay? But especially if you're watching this, send this video to someone you know, like send it as a link, okay? Share it. Let's get sharing the podcast, because we want to be building a community, which we're going to talk about, and we're going to use you guys, the community that we've built so far, in the Thursday podcast, which is very important to myself and Ben to get some inputs of your own, into the podcast. So share it, all right? And if you agree with something that we've said, let us know, but more likely if you disagree with something that we've said, also let us know. And it might even reach the American audience across the pond, which I am definitely keen for that to happen. Especially I was anticipating maybe a couple of Americans biting on some of our comments about the fans last week. They didn't do. Maybe they'll do it off the back of today. We'll have to see. But yeah, give this podcast a share if you are listening, watching, and it'll be much appreciated. Okay then, we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much for listening, and you will catch us again on Thursday for episode 5. As I said, thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you next time.